Welcome to episode 8 of the Filmmaking Through Music Podcast. I'm your host, John Wader, and my mission is to help filmmakers like yourself achieve a more commercially appealing film through the effective use of original music and scores. I want you to have more narratively aligned and emotionally connected music for your story. In this episode, which I thought would be fun to break it up a little bit for episode 8, we're talking through what the composer is looking for out of you, the filmmaker, and the project itself. And I thought this would be a nice breakup from the standard sort of filmmaker, film composer advice type things. But I'm just going to go through a long list here of all the different kind of questions that I usually have for filmmakers about projects when I'm getting involved. And I just think that it's always nice to put yourself in someone else's shoes, in the creative industry, to understand what they might be thinking about. That's actually how this entire podcast started, right? This is primarily a podcast for filmmakers to learn about film music, not necessarily a podcast about film composing for film composers, right? Right, the audience is both, but really I created this podcast to help filmmakers throughout that post-production process in music. And so today I'm just going to go through a handful of notes of, again, agenda items, questions, and things that I look for out of filmmakers and projects themselves, which I'm sure can be extrapolated from what many other composers are looking for, as well as other folks that a director or a producer might be hiring. So before I get into sort of the nitty-gritty of sort of like tactile items, let's just talk about some of those general things, right? I'm looking for someone that's passionate about their project, right? First and foremost, I'm looking for alignment on story, right? I definitely want to be working on projects that I either believe in the story or resonate with the story or understand where that story is going. And I think that kind of goes without saying for anyone that's working in film, right? Everyone is going to wants to work on projects that they actually like the story and they do believe in. So maybe that's kind of like number 0 there. That's the prologue. But I'm looking for filmmakers that are understanding and believe in the impact of musical storytelling, right? Music and film for storytelling, because I just know that when I find those people, we're going to have a better experience overall for that project. Secondly, ambitious filmmakers, right? Ambitious filmmakers that are looking to have their films reach wider audiences through festivals or through potential distribution. And I kind of put that kind of in the tagline of the podcast itself, because those are the people that I want to partner with. I want to partner with people that do believe in getting their film out there into the world. Teamwork is a big one for me as well, right? Team-focused filmmakers that are truly looking for creative collaborators, right? Not just work for hire people in their post-production process, not just someone that's looking to give orders and move along. I'm looking for someone that I really can consider, a friend, right? Which is kind of, right? Cancel that part, just the friend part. I'm looking for someone that's going to be a true collaborator with me, that wants to bring me on as a collaborator. Again, not just a work for hire. Tying back into understanding the impact of music is really the second point to that is really someone that is looking for that consistency and cohesive, someone that's looking for consistency and cohesion on their music as well. That's very important to me with film scoring, right? When it comes to the genre of film music and the style of film music, I'm much more fluid with that, because I think as composers coming up today kind of have to be. So I'm never overly pitching a specific style or genre of film music. What's more important to me is that we do have a consistent and cohesive approach to that music there, because that really tells me that the filmmaker that I'm partnering with is very vision and goal oriented as well. And lastly, and truly most importantly, is right, friendly filmmakers. I'm looking for people who are easy to get along with, and then I can see myself being friends with there. I just have to throw that one in there. So that's kind of my more, I guess we call those, right, emotional qualities or, professional qualities, people qualities even. But let's chat a little bit about the sort of more tactical things. And I'm just kind of going to bullet list these here. I'm not going to go into too much detail on them, but it should go without saying, right? Story, right? I want to understand your story, and I want to hopefully resonate with that or be interested in that. That's kind of that first domino that needs to fall before anything else can go there. Tied in with that is, of course, the vision, right? Not just the story, but how are you telling it, where you want to go with this project as well. And so those are kind of the first two, and nothing really happens without those. And then we can kind of get into the nitty gritty, right? Like, where are you currently at right now? Like, what stage are you in for your film? Are you ready to hire a composer? And then, like, what is your plan, right? What is your fundraising, festival, and distribution plan if that's on the table there? It's very important to me to learn those things from my filmmaking team, so that I can trust that I'm going to be getting into a project that's worthwhile, because it's a high level of effort for me, right? And there's a number of projects that I can be saying yes to. So every time I say yes to a project, I might be saying no to another project. So I need to trust that I believe in sort of that sort of fundraising festival distribution plan as well from the filmmakers, which kind of ties into that overall budget as well. I want to understand what kind of film we're shooting towards here, or we're able to shoot towards here in terms of budget, both overall production wise and through post-production and music. That includes like total runtime, right? The total runtime is such a huge factor into the level of effort that your composer puts in there. And then just, what they've done in the past for music, what has worked for them, what hasn't worked for them, what other composers have they worked with in the past, have they worked with a composer in the past, and what's that sort of inspiration for them on their scores. I know I went through those rather quickly, but each of those is a little bit of a conversation with the filmmaker. But yeah, it's a brief episode this week, but I really just wanted to share a little bit of insight into kind of what goes through my mind when I'm getting involved with new projects. So if it applies to you and you're looking to have a conversation about your film or wanting to learn more about the process, please, if you haven't, feel free to grab the film scoring playbook for filmmakers and directors. Again, it just kind of goes to that end-to-end process of what it's like to work with a composer and have an original score made for you. Thanks so much for listening, and happy filmmaking.